guys, to the Dallas Parlay. We're here again. A fumbling, terrible Cowboys week, but we are here. We committed to it this week too. Got the guys together. It's been a hell of a time trying to get this back together, but we committed. We're here, and my name is Brandon, and I got the cast with me. Who I got here with me today? Because Chaz got on to me for not letting him introduce his, give his intro. So go ahead, Chaz. Take it away.
I got to figure out the intro that I'm going to use because I'm always I'm Chaz. I'm here.
And then we have our third compadre.
Ryan.
Which is Ryan.
Look, I know that we look a little bit of behind the scenes. Okay, I know I needed to step up the energy from the last one. Hey, this ain't gonna be the podcast fourth though. I don't think. Coming off of that kind of a loss, god dang.
Right.
I only got so much energy in me.
I bet you do, big boy. All right. Anyways, I'm just playing. So clearly we're having a good time because this afternoon has been ferocious, just like the Cowboys' Week 2 loss. Which, Chaz, where you want to start with it?
I guess the good thing about doing this on Tuesday is we were able to watch the Eagles last night absolutely give the game away at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
And I stayed up for it. I know maybe not everybody did, but oh my God, the look on Sirianni's face when Kirk Cousins, of all people, go straight down the field, score, and leave his quarterback throwing a pick at the end of the game to blow it. It was sweet serenity from the depression I had after the Cowboys game. And then also watching the Niners lose was a little bit of a bolster of my weekend as well, but I was pretty depressed all Sunday morning.
Yeah, there's not a more punchable face than Nick Sirianni. So maybe that's like the only bit of energy that I have today in doing this podcast is seeing the Falcons beat them. So let's go. We're still in it, baby. 1-1. It's all good.
It's not over by any means, but I mean, looking at the game, watching the game, at what point did you guys think that maybe not the game was exactly over yet, but it was going to be a long day? What kind of stood out to you in the beginning that was kind of a red flag?
I'll just say I think it's easy to say their second drive. We went down. They went down. They got the ball first and got a touchdown. We responded with the field goal. It is what it is. They clearly beat us on that first drive. They looked good. We didn't. The second drive, that's the one that it's easy to say. That's when we knew it was going to be a long day, when they got one pass, 70-yarder to Rashid Shaheed. But that's honestly not even where I thought that things went south. I knew that the game was pretty much over once they got the interception. Once there was, I think 2 minutes left maybe in the first half. And I want to say it was 21 or 28-13. And I think, Chaz, you had even texted us and said, hey, look, if we can control this clock, get the touchdown, we get the ball back after second half. If we can somehow control the middle eight, as they call it, and get 14 points out of it and bring this game to within one, that's where it's at. But then when we got the interception, they turned that into another touchdown, went up 35-13. I knew from there that we were it wasn't going to be our day.
It's absolutely deflating.
Extremely. And backstory for me, my kid, we're very busy, so my kids have a ton of baseball. So I'm watching it, while watching a kid, hit home runs. I'm just kidding. But so I didn't get to, analyze the whole thing. I wanted to go back and rewatch it, and I'm kind of happy I didn't. So, but I do want to, bring up, too. So I went and played basketball the next morning, and I watched it, right? But I didn't get too into it. But I thought the defense was the most ferocious of the group, and I think we probably in agreement. But the thing that I noticed was that people were hating on Dak. Like a few of the guys that I play basketball with, they were just hating on him hard, and I was like, wait, hold on, I get it. We didn't score touchdowns. I understand, but we did get some movement here and there. To me, it was defense. Like I didn't even think about Dak being bad. I was like, he missed by all means. He missed some open shots down the field,
He did.
wide open Zeke or whatever. But to me, it was the defense. I mean, obviously, 44 points. But what do y'all think? Y'all think it was Dak?
I mean,
Obviously, it's a team game, but
the Saints scored. I mean, they have 5 possessions in the first half, and they score a touchdown on all 5 of them. I mean, you can't keep up with that. It's not realistic, regardless how good Dak was or wasn't playing. But it didn't help when our second drive, after. So of course, they get the ball first. They go down and score. We are kind of going down the field, and we get
we
the
scored 3.
non-call. Yeah, the pass interference that wasn't a pass interference. And then the next play, Rico Dowdle basically has his helmet ripped off of him and no flag. So we have to basically stall out and go for a field goal. We give the ball back. They go down and score. The second possession, we're marching again, kind of. And Dak misses CeeDee Lamb in the middle of the field that would have probably been at least a first down, touchdown. Have to settle for a field goal again. And the way they were playing, I mean, Carr didn't have to throw a lot, but everything that he was throwing was just dead on. And Dak was just a little off, and it just like, I knew after that second possession, of course, after the interception, right before half, it was just like, all right, man, this is going to be really hard to come back from.
Well, not having to throw a lot's kind of an understatement, though. He threw 11 fucking passes the whole game. 11 passes, 11 of 16. So yeah, you could say the defense is what stood out to me by far. What stood out, at least to start the game. I mean, because you expect teams to come to Dallas and play better than they do against any other team. It's just what Dallas brings out in other teams. So I mean, you kind of expect them to be energized, especially scoring on. I think they said like their last 5 possessions of the Saints' last game. So
Going
anyways,
into the game, yeah.
I expected them to show up on offense and our defense to maybe even look like it did, which in itself was totally on Zimmer. I thought he had the worst scheme possible for this game. But the thing that stood out to me by far was the fact that we have a trash running game. I mean, we just could not run the ball with anybody. They were trying to throw Rico at him. Deuce wasn't doing anything.
God,
Zeke wasn't doing
I'm sorry.
anything. I mean, man, the running game to me was you can't expect Dak to do, all these incredible things with when there's zero threat of a run. And he's not going to run it either. I mean, forget about it, dude. Put an extra tight end on the line and just get the running backs out of there. Everybody knows now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's hard to run too much when you're down so quick. And like to Chaz's point too, they scored like it seemed okay at first because it's like 7 points, and then we scored 3, and then vice versa. But they scored like 21 in their first like 8 minutes of their possession time. Like that's so terrible. It is so terrible.
The deep pass touchdown. I don't want to be that guy again. The refs, the penalties, whatever. But I thought, obviously
Micah.
It looked like Parsons got held
Yep.
pretty bad, and he threw it, deep down, scored the touchdown. And again, it just goes back to this is exactly what happens. Like the Cowboys, they either are the ones taking the penalties that are unnecessary, or they just never get the calls that if we were on the other side, I just feel like we get called every time. So it was just so frustrating right there in the beginning.
When's Mike gonna get that LeBron treatment? Where they just get everything. Like it's time. Micah is the man. I don't know if they know it, but
that one was bad. And the net result of it being a almost 80-yard touchdown was just that much worse that it wasn't called.
Yeah, I agree. But hindsight, who really cares? I don't think that would have even stopped them. They would have gotten the penalty, and they would have just put something else up on the board. Mike Zimmer didn't have anything for them. I don't even remember seeing Overshown on the field. Micah was
they hardly played him.
Yeah, Micah wasn't having a good day. Overshown didn't see him. I think Kendricks again was. I think he led the team in tackles this week. But I mean, one total sack from Chauncey Golston. It ain't gonna work, man.
Dude, yeah, that so getting to that, I mean, obviously, like we're kind of late on this. If you listen to any type of talk radio or whatever, you're getting the second half of us already probably copying their analysis. But dude, the defensive line is freaking ferocious. Now I noticed Mozzie Smith this time because I was like kind of like watching on my phone, watching him, and dude, they're terrible. I think in 2 weeks they have like 2 assist tackles. Like that's freaking terrible. Like they're not even clogging lanes. It's like I was watching my kids' game. It's like they're just letting them go get the linebackers. Go ahead, guys. Like do what you want.
Yeah, I was listening to McCarthy's press conference yesterday, and he was like, yeah, they were just beating us to the first punch, and while that is kind of a cop-out answer, I mean, he is kind of right. For whatever reason, man, they just looked like they were running through the mud, like they had concrete shoes on. Everything they were doing was so slow. There was no energy. I hate to say that that's coaching, but because I don't know, I'm not on the sideline. I don't know what they're saying to him before, after, during the game, but something wasn't right, man. That defense just wasn't ready to play.
Yeah.
No,
Were we too quick on the Zimmer stuff? Like we were so high. I mean,
no. My point last week was that it's not Mike Zimmer. It's that it's our defense, and I think this further goes to that. It doesn't matter who our coach is. I think we have the right pieces, but they're not getting up, waking up, ready to play in our home stadium in the opener of the season. I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
they weren't fired up or
it all
something.
comes down to the players have to make the plays. I mean, you can scheme them into a good situation, but it just never seemed like we were always just one step behind. It seemed like, and nobody was stepping up. I didn't see any leadership in the defense. I mean, in the very beginning, the first two scores, they kept going to the sideline and they were showing Parsons talking to the line or talking to his people and trying to pump him up and everything. But I mean, at the end of the day, New Orleans almost had 200 yards of rushing, and with Alvin Kamara doing most of the work there, over 100 yards, and it just shows you that the importance of having a dynamic running back that we do not have. I mean, he's not in his prime, I feel like, by any means, but he looked like the best of himself going up against our defense. I mean, he just shredded us. And like you said, I mean, we weren't getting anything. Dowdle wasn't going anywhere. The little guy couldn't make it around the corner. And everybody's screaming. Well, not everybody's screaming, but you got to consider, well, are we going to bring up Dalvin Cook? Are we going to see what he can do? It sounded like Jerry Jones wasn't really interested in doing that yet, but we're in need of something in the backfield because Dak's not going to be able to, almost 40.
He can't save us.
What he had to do.
Yeah, he's not going to save us. He may have gotten all this money, but I mean, I'm not the biggest Dak fan. You guys have known that I hate on him so much. So we didn't score touchdowns, but this is not on him, man. They scored 3 touchdowns so quickly. It's just ridiculous. And so
we have a wide receiver that's wearing ice skates and just falls down. You can't put. I don't think you can really put either one of those interceptions. The Tyrann Mathieu one, the second interception, maybe that was a little bit more him, or maybe the CD. I don't know. That something went wrong with that route, I think. But the first one, I mean, Jalen Brooks just literally falling down. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
I don't think Dak was a problem. I'm not mad at Dak on this game.
That was a problem. I mean, that hurt. And like you said, the second interception was really just in garbage time when we were trying to just do whatever we could to get some points on the board. I mean, maybe he's forced a little bit at that point. You just have to. But, yeah, that first one was just a rookie mistake.
Yeah, and just going back to that defense, last week they made me look so bad. I thought they looked tough. Like, what? Like, maybe Zimmer's bringing in some toughness and blah, blah, blah. And then this week it's like the complete, like, they just got ran over. They were faster than us. They were, like, everything. Everything was
I think they took advantage of Zimmer's aggressive defense in the beginning. It just seemed like we tried to do what we did in the last game and put some pressure on them early, and they just shredded us with these
I know,
screen
why didn't we play
passes and
zone?
dink and dunk, and it was just
I'm
like,
not like the analysis genius here, but like having somebody follow, even on those two, like those quick passes that we had at the beginning that scored, 60 whatever yards, like was that not a lesson that they were too fast for us? Why are we playing zone and following them? Like they have motion plays and we're following them across the field. I don't like. I think they need to give up on that at least a little bit. But man, bunch of complaints here. You know what's good about this game? Freaking the kicker is amazing. Just thought I'd let you guys know that.
Maher.
404.
Yeah.
I don't think Maher.
Maher, Butter Aubrey.
I don't think Maher's on this team anymore, Chaz. Money Maher.
Oh, yeah.
Butter Aubrey, dude.
Yeah, Butter. I guess it is Butter Aubrey now. Yeah, he still hasn't missed a kick. I mean, he's the only little ray of sunshine that we have to talk about this week. And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll have one person in the Pro Bowl this year.
One person. And maybe overshown if they, put him in. Because you mentioned that he wasn't in the game, so I heard somewhere that, they only put him in for certain things, certain packages or whatever. But that needs to change for sure. Like he needs to be in more. They got to do something different. They can't change the line, so let's do something.
You got to have your best, most athletic players out there. I think he's the best middle linebacker we have. So I mean, you just gotta. We got to play. I don't care what package he's supposed to be in. We just got to plug him in, and we got to get some spark out of this defense that just seems to be a little lackluster. I mean, maybe it's just one game. I don't want to. It is what it is. It was a bad game. So let's just. But the problem is, we got the Ravens next weekend, and they are kind of in a desperate situation where they've lost 2 games they probably should have won, and now we got to go and face that. So does it get any easier?
I don't know if they know this, but they can run a little bit, and that's kind of our not so good thing about our defenses. They can't stop the run, so we got a problem.
Yeah, and their quarterback does
exactly.
run too.
And we don't stop running quarterbacks either. That's for sure. And the spread's like -1 or +1. Are we at home? So +1. Anyways, we're underdogs against an 0-2 team. Like they don't have faith in us to stop this running and even passing. They have
Nor should they.
Yeah, they got some good passing yards too. Likely, who's on my fantasy team. I like him.
I mean, we're going to have to be a completely different team to even keep up with them, I feel. I mean, which we are capable of. I mean, the Ravens go 0-3 or the Cowboys 2-1. I mean, it's...
Gosh, let's hope. 325. That's the game time. We probably play better than 2. I think noon games, I don't know, just a feeling that we don't play good at noon, so we can only hope.
I do think it's going to be a much better game for whatever reason. I think it is going to be a good game. I think how we start these games is everything. It's always been everything for the Cowboys. I feel like even going back to like the Dez Bryant times, if you didn't get Dez involved immediately, we weren't going to have any kind of an offense. I think the same thing for our defense. That's kind of the only edge, so to speak, that we have right now. So if we're not coming out and, maybe stopping them, having a big sack, or just some kind of sign of life out of the first defensive drive, I think it's going to be another long game. But I do, for whatever reason, think that we're going to have at least a little bit more success. I'm not calling for a win. Matter of fact, I'll probably even just go on record and say we're probably going to lose this game. Not the end of the world. I mean, we're going to start 1-2, which sucks. But I mean, it's against a quality opponent. So, but who knows, man? Maybe we will win this game, and then everything will be back right in the world. Who knows? Cowboys.
Go Cowboys. Signing off. Just kidding.
It's a pipe dream.
Hey, if we do win, good news. We have the Giants next week. So, or the following, whatever. That's 7 o'clock game too, but they're not looking too good. So there's always hope.
We're gonna have to take our aggression off on them. I mean, I'm with Ryan. I'm not very hopeful for this next game, but I'll be watching it. And one thing that I took away from the game, I mean, little things I try to pick up was they did involve Tolbert a lot more in
Hmm.
this game, where they didn't really target him at all the last game, which was surprising because of all the good news that he was getting out of training camp and preseason. He's supposed to be the number two, and I think they targeted him once last week, and he had 6 receptions this week for 82 yards. So that's a little that's a plus. And Schoonmaker kind of, I didn't really see the lack of Ferguson being there
I agree.
affecting the team too much. He had 6 catches as well, and that we were getting beat up, so it was hard to tell. But um, at least we can kind of deal with what we got here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. He had 9 targets. I think CD had 7, which I don't remember CD getting like doubled a whole lot. Maybe he was. Maybe I just wasn't really paying attention to it. But yeah, he had 2 more targets than CD did. So, um, I mean, that'd be nice if we did have a standout number two.
yeah.
But let's end the freaking Deuce Vaughn experiment. Send him back down. We don't need him.
Second
Four
there.
four for
Uh,
11, 4 carries for 11 yards. Man, that is
Yeah,
absolutely
Dalvin
pathetic.
Cook, come
well,
on.
that was another one last week I was going to mention. They didn't really play Deuce Vaughn at all week one. And I was going to say something about it, see if you guys were surprised that they didn't really play him since he was pretty much the lead back. Well, I don't know if he was the lead back in preseason, but he was definitely way more a part of it than they did in the first week. But I kind of see
Yeah,
now why maybe they didn't have
they
him
do
out
that
there too
every
much.
every year.
No, well, I think they were also trying to sell Zeke 15 jerseys, so they were going to make sure that Zeke played in week one. Believe that.
I think they do that every year. They try to boost somebody that they see, like, oh, this guy looks good, and then they just like go all out, and then it's like a not Mike McCarthy, but it's just a Cowboys thing, and then they're not even they no show or they don't get played that much. So I think that's a thing. One more thing. If Dak did play bad, according to other people, good news is he doesn't usually play bad 2 games in a row. So that is good news for just to give you a little bit of hope
That's
for that
true.
Ravens game. Now, hopefully the defense and Micah, I think Micah's kind of similar. Like I feel like if he does have an average game and then the next week he'll have a good game. So might be some good news there, but I'm with you guys. I don't feel good about it.
Let me say, can I say one more positive thing? And this is, I know I'm kind of grasping at straws here a little bit, but one more or maybe 2 more things that are positive from this game. Zach Martin is not injured. Holy moly!
I was
I was
I was
ready
going
to
to
like,
ask if you guys were worried about that.
yes. And CD, when CD went down in the end zone, when he got drilled in the end zone, I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, we lost Zach and CD in this game. But yeah, luckily I think he's gonna be okay. So dodged a bullet there, wiped this one off the memory, and
Hmm. I think
move forward,
everybody's
baby.
got to play
Forward,
better
Yeah,
forward.
next
just
week. The whole O line too. Even Zach didn't. I don't think looked amazing. So that is what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, Cooper Rush finished the game for us, so that
Oh
pretty much
yeah,
tells you everything you need to know.
yeah. One of 3 for 6 yards.
build it, build it. All right, guys. Well, I think we beat you a dead horse. So that's probably about to do it for us. We're looking forward to this next week. The Ravens. We're gonna hope for some better, even on a loss. Like let's just hope for some more things to talk about. That's not so just down. I don't want to be that typical that Cowboys fan. Like everybody makes fun. We're so high when they win, and there's no winning as a Cowboys fan whatsoever. But just some more positive things to talk about next week, hopefully.
Yeah. We knew they weren't going to be undefeated, so I mean, it was a. I don't ever like getting beat that bad, but it was going to happen. I mean, the Saints look legit, and
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how they play out the rest of the year, but I mean, they're looking pretty good right now. So maybe we just got them at a bad time, and we didn't have our best game, and we're going to really have to step it up against the Ravens here. But if we pull out a win, then it's a whole different tone next week, and I hope it is. I really do.
And the Saints play the Eagles this week too, so hopefully they can go get stomped too, and then I'll feel even better.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Second to that. On that note, we will holler at you guys next week because we are going strong, 2 weeks strong, right, Chaz? Killing it. Hell yeah.
That's right. We'll keep it doing every Tuesday.
Hopefully Monday. We're trying to stick with Mondays, but we'll holler at y'all next time. Again, my name's Brandon.
I'm Chaz.
We're gonna reference that next week, and we are Dallas Parlay
Oh, it's so bad.
Podcast.